That was the Wayward Creek Band, and they're going to stay tuned. Three eclectic women who came together for no reason other than to make music. So thank you very much. It's my pleasure to welcome you this evening to the Women of Distinction reception for 2014. I'm Geraldine Jargo. I'm a vice president at Century College. And our first speaker is going to be the president of Century College, Ron Anderson. But for Ron Anderson, it's a very special day. It is his birthday. So the Wayward Creek is going to lead us. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Ron. Happy birthday to you. Now, in honor of the president's birthday, rather than the usual introduction about his educational background and the good things that he does, I checked on his horoscope because we know that is the absolute final truth. So his horoscope, since he was born on November 6th, tells me that he is emotional, musical, energetic, intelligent, talkative, hardworking. He has great skills and talents for negotiation. And this cracks me up. He should have a job in education, counseling, or public service. Other folks, especially women who have a birthday on November 6th that are in the same company: Emma Stone, Maria Shriver, John Philip Sousa, and Zig Ziglar. So think about those people and their characteristics, and let me present President Ron Anderson.
That's a little bit frightening because some of those things are true. Well, it's my pleasure to welcome you all. This is our 10th annual Women of Distinction event, and we are so pleased that you could be with us. There are a few women who had received this award previously that are also with us tonight, and so I think we're going to be recognizing them later. But again, I want to welcome you and thank you for being here. This is the time of the year that we step back and we recognize and pay tribute to the accomplishments of some amazing women within our community. These women, as you will hear their stories, have gone way beyond what one would expect a typical person to do in their lives to support their communities, and in particular to support other women and girls and to make our communities a better place. And so we are so honored to have them with us and to be able to celebrate them this evening. So welcome and enjoy the evening, and get ready to have your heart tugged at, because I don't think a single one of these passes by where we don't all feel very moved and humbled by the work and the passion and the contributions that these women have made. So thank you for being with us this evening. Apparently, being a Scorpio also means that you forget to read your notes, and there are other things I was supposed to do. So I want to thank Steve Ritt. Steve's in the back there. Steve is a member here, and he made it possible for us to have our event at Delwood tonight. So thank you, Steve. Steve is a member of our Alumni Association, a past outstanding alumni, I believe, and also the president of the Century College Foundation. And I also want to recognize, and you'll be hearing more from our faculty, from our our Gender Studies program, that this is the group of folks that actually, I believe, founded this event and understood the importance of the college recognizing the contributions of women in our community. So thank you all for being here, and we look forward to hearing more about the program as well as we progress this evening. Thanks.
There was forgetfulness, but I chose not to read that out loud. I forgot to read it. No, not true. Our first award recipient is Jenny Case, co-founder and executive director of She Rocks, She Rocks. I had the pleasure of meeting all three of our recipients a little bit earlier this evening. They're phenomenal. They're high energy. They're very optimistic. They were joyful, I would say. And as you read their bios and you read the missions of their organization, two things stick out. One, they're incredibly busy women and have done these projects in spare moments and spare times. These are not their day jobs. in most cases, so that's interesting. The other thing that stands out is every one of them uses the word empower in their mission. And we were talking beforehand, we were talking about empowerment and the different spectrums or shades, if you will, of the definition of that. How as a young girl you're empowered to do things. Maybe you're empowered to play in a different way or ask questions or be the loud speaker, because I think I just got louder. I did. And as we go through our life with that empowerment, in some cases it's activities, it might be sports, it might be music, it might be your classes that empower you. But the biggest influencer in empowerment are the people around us. Some of us, it's our parents, some of it's our siblings, some of it's our teachers, some of it's organizations like the ones that these women have created. And without any other thoughts except you think about empowerment, I'd like to have Jenny Case come up. She's going to talk about She Rock, She Rock. The mission is to empower girls and women through the art of music. So help me welcome Jenny Case.
All right. I am truly honored to be recognized along with such an incredible women tonight. So thank you, Century College, for putting on such a wonderful event and giving us the opportunity to acknowledge women in our community. I want to thank my husband, Rod, out there. Yeah. The staff of She Rock, She Rock, our board of directors, and my friends. We have a board member, Lisa Whitney, here, and one of my band members, Robert. And an old friend, Mary Bummers. Thank you for coming out. I cannot tell you how humbling it is to be recognized for two things that I enjoy doing so much: teaching music and empowering girls and women. I grew up in the Minneapolis suburbs and started off my music career playing guitar in an all-female rock band in high school. The band stayed together for 3 years before breaking up. I continued to want to play music with more women, but found it challenging to find any who were serious enough about playing their instruments to want to be in a band. I remember putting an ad in the city pages for a female drummer and getting responses from about 25 guy drummers saying, "If you don't find anyone, hit me up." But no women ever responded. I persevered and continued playing music, went to college for music, became a guitar teacher, and wound up playing in bands with mostly men for the next 15 years. I also have firsthand knowledge of how devastating the effects of the media's portrayal of girls and women can be on a person's self-esteem. I struggled with eating disorders and depression for all of my teenage years, and I saw the same struggle going on with many of my friends. I lost quite a few years of my life to eating disorders and all that they encompass. And to think that when I was a teen, the average model weighed 8% less than the average woman, and today the average model weighs 23% less than the average woman. All I can wonder is, what is this doing to our girls? In 2007, I helped spearhead an organization here in the Twin Cities called She Rock, She Rock. We're a nonprofit 501c3 that seeks to empower girls and women to become creative and engaged members of the community. Our biggest program is Girls Rock and Roll Retreat, and the acronym for that is GRR, G-R-R-R, GRR. GRR is a day camp during the summer where girls learn an instrument. They can learn electric guitar, bass guitar, drums, keyboards, or vocals. They form a band. They write an original song or two with their band, and they participate in workshops such as self-defense, media literacy and body image, gender bias and bullying, anti-oppression, assertiveness training, image and identity, and activism. The experience of discussing topics like these creates a context for their expression throughout the week, which culminates in a live performance with their band at a showcase concert on Friday night. Girls Rock and Roll Retreat is designed to encourage self-esteem and foster collaboration between girls and women. We do this through mentorship from professional women musicians and by providing a platform for creative self-expression. Campers are provided with self-empowerment, self-advocacy, teamwork, and leadership skills. Girls Rock and Roll Retreat is for any girl ages 8 to 16, no experience necessary, and we provide all the instruments. We're going into our 9th year of camp in 2015, and we've served over 600 girls in the past 8 years. At camp, we teach everyone to say, "I rock," instead of saying sorry. Did you hurt or insult someone? A heartfelt apology, of course, is necessary. But did you inadvertently play a C-sharp chord in the middle of your song when you were supposed to play a G chord? Did you sing the wrong lyrics to the first verse? Is everyone else learning the drum beat to "I Love Rock and Roll" faster than you? In that case, you don't need to say you're sorry. You say, I rock. There are no apologies at rock camp. All the staff and counselors have to do it too. In addition, if you hear someone else apologizing unnecessarily, you can correct them with a, no, you rock. And usually everybody else joins in at that point. It's pretty empowering. In 2010, we started our first Ladies Rock Camp, which is a 3-day adult version of Girls Rock and Roll Retreat, where women come together, support one another, and rock out. We also hold after-school classes for girls and women during the school year, and all-female jams and open mics at Twin Cities area coffee shops. Selfishly, I love this organization because I get to watch these girls and women make long, life-lasting changes during our programs and camps. Some just enjoy the experience and the friendships. Some continue to play their instruments on their own afterwards. Some go on to become junior counselors and teachers in our programs. Some bands stay together after camp and continue rehearsing and writing songs. Some even start booking their own gigs and organizing their own music festivals. All of this impacts their lives forever. We teach the girls and women to respect themselves, that we value them for who they are, what they do, what they create. Like I mentioned before, we educate them in subjects such as media literacy, self-advocacy, and gender stereotypes. These subjects really come out in their creations throughout the week at camp. A couple years ago, we had a band at camp called Hot Kool-Aid, and they had a song called Not Your Sister's Barbie, and the lyrics to their chorus was, I'm not your sister's Barbie, I'm made of skin, not plastic, isn't that fantastic? We had a band from last year's Girls Rock Camp called Can't Touch Us, and they had a song called Untouchable. The chorus went, we will be untouchable, unbreakable, untakeable, untamable, and you may try to break us down, but we will be untouchable. Our first year of Ladies Rock Camp, we had a band called Missing Piece, who our board member Lisa is the bass player of this band, and they wrote a song called Superwoman. The chorus was Wonder Woman, She-Ra, Isis and Xena, Thelma, Rogue and Buffy, make me wanna screama. Batgirl, Powerpuff, and Supergirl, superwomen kicking butt and rockin' your world. It was a super fast punk rock song. And last year at camp, there was a 9-year-old band, so a group of 9-year-old girls formed a band called Sisters Not Misters. And they wrote in their chorus, a world without women is a world doomed to fail. If women are valued, we will prevail. And that was their chorus, and they got the audience chanting and clapping along. It was pretty powerful. Those were 9-year-olds. Empowering girls and women with these kind of messages is fundamental to building a future of equality for everyone. If a girl leaves camp and feels like her voice matters, regardless if she ever picks up her instrument again, I'd say we succeeded with our mission. With her newfound sense of I rock, she may go on to attend college, start her own business, become CEO of Apple, or maybe even the President of the United States. The opportunities are endless. I believe in the importance of investing in girls' knowledge and education so that they may develop essential life skills, are better equipped to participate effectively in society, and protect themselves from harm. Teaching girls and women to speak up, be assertive, and advocate for themselves enhances their agency, which is the ability to make decisions and act on them. Research shows that education improves a girl's life by opening her mind to the possibilities of what she may achieve, creating more income-producing work opportunities, improving her health and future children's health, and giving her opportunities for economic independence. I hope that She Rock, She Rock gives girls and women the confidence and skills to believe that they are worthy of all that and more, and that they rock, and that you all rock. Thanks again for this honor, and I hope to see some of you at our next Ladies Rock Camp, which is in April. And if that's not really your cup of tea, talk to me, because we're always looking for volunteers for our programs and events. So thank you again.
Wow. You rock.
You rock.
I got
No, you too, Joe. Thank you.
Should I take that?
Sure, I can follow you back.
I can tell at our next meeting on campus, those of you who work at Century, if anyone even thinks about saying I'm sorry, what will we say? You rock. Ron, did you hear me? You can't. Shh, shh. Yeah, you rock, right? All right. Angela Champagne-Fromm. She is the founder and executive director of the Fight Back Project, and this project is dedicated to educating and empowering women and children to fight back. She's already had an awesome day. She was promoted at her day job, so welcome her and congratulate her on her promotion.
Good evening. Can you hear me all right? Thank you. It is such an honor to be recognized as a woman of distinction. 3 years ago, I was trying to figure out what I was going to do with the rest of my life. I was working full-time as a paralegal downtown Minneapolis at Stephen Carey. I was taking 18 credits at Hamline University. I found a strong love for feminist theory. And I was trying to put all these pieces together and figure out what I was going to do with the rest of my life. It was April 19th, 2012. I found myself alone in a parking garage after work when a man in a business suit came up behind me and put a knife to my throat. I suffered life-threatening injuries as I fought for my life. Sorry. Oh, no, I rock. I flirted with death's doorstep that spring afternoon. I'm sure you're all looking at me saying, gosh, she looks awesome. I would never guess that something like that happened to her. I carry around invisible wounds, PTSD and anxiety that are debilitating and exhausting. During my recovery, I thought to myself, why did God do this to me? Why did something so horrible happen to me, and why did I survive it? And it dawned on me, this is what I'm supposed to do with the rest of my life. I've devoted my recovery and the rest and everything else to educating and empowering women and children to fight back. I started a nonprofit this year, and it just got 501c3 status, the Fight Back Project. With the support of my family and my friends and my employer, I travel around the state, and I'm starting to travel around the Midwest, and I share my story, and I talk about the importance of self-defense and personal protection. When I was in high school, I took a self-defense class because I needed a physical education class, and 11 years later, muscle memory, no joke, it came back to me. I knew exactly what to do. Now, through my nonprofit, I'm teaching self-defense, I'm speaking, and in 2015, I have decided that I'm going to start a support group for survivors, because I've found through my recovery that there's not support groups for women who survived violent acts of crime. Typically, it's domestic violence, and through my speaking, I've encountered many women who have encountered many sorts of different violent crimes that are looking for help in their recovery. So I'm going to start that. I'm going to start a running group because I'm a runner. I love running, and as with PTSD, it's hard to run alone. So nothing like a bunch of survivors coming together and running. I just finished my first marathon in October. Woo! I would like to thank this amazing table in the front here. I have my Hamline University teacher, mentor, friend here to support me. I have my in-laws here, my mother-in-law, my father-in-law, my uncle-in-law, my aunt-in-law, and most importantly, my partner, my life partner, and my best friend. How could I forget her? We were just dating for 6 months when this happened, and he stood up, he liked it, so he put a ring on it. He vowed to stand beside me through the hardness, He helped me follow my dreams, start a nonprofit, encouraged me. He's there when I wake up from the nightmares. He's there to be the man in the padded suit at the self-defense classes. He's there in the audience when I speak. He is my everything, and I don't tell you often enough how much I appreciate you, and I do love you, and thank you for being my rock. So, lastly, to the man upstairs, I want to thank him for being so obvious and telling me what I need to do with the rest of my life. Educating, empowering, teaching everyone to fight back. I would like to end with a quote from the brilliant mind of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter. Violence against women affects everyone in this room. 1 in 3 women are victim of assault in their lifetime, and 1 in 33 men are victim of assault in their lifetime. These statistics are awful. So my life's mission is to get out there, educate and empower, and change these statistics, raise awareness, and teach everyone how to fight back. Thank you.
Our third recipient is smiling at me. Good, that's a good sign. Let me introduce Fartun Welly. She is the founder and executive director of Isuroon. I hope I did that okay. It is about health empowerment and specifically with Somali women and girls in mind. So, Fartun.
Good evening. What an exciting night, and I'm honored. Jenny and Angela, you put me to tears. Your work inspires me more, and I'm glad to know you, and I hope to work with you. When I got the call on the email and said you are recipient of an award, I couldn't believe it. I said, who would want to give me an award? Because most of my friends say, Fortune, you're very aggressive, very opinionated. You don't fit the social norm. You're always questioning why we cannot change. So I said, I think I burned so many bridges, no one wanted to give me any award. So this was an honest surprise, and it was a good note to end 2014 with all the success and the hard work that we do. I really want to talk about the education piece, and we know education empowers women, especially when it starts as a young girl. And educating young girls, she becomes a successful mother, wife, someone who contributes to society and for the whole community. Coming from the background I came from, I just want to tell a little story about my background. As many Somali women, when we were back home, my mother, she was illiterate, but very smart, street smart, and knew what to do. However, she dedicated her life to educating her daughters. We were 4 daughters and 2 boys. And how important her life was. It just makes me right now think about her, tears into my eyes. What she was doing is like she made sure that we went to school. And it didn't matter what she did. She would always ask us, you have to do your homework. And my brothers and I would sit and we pretend we're doing homework while she sits there with a little stick. She didn't know what we were doing, but for her was just, you have to be successful. She was kind of introverted. I'm the total opposite, kind of someone wants to make me quiet. But as soon as she sees our grades and our grades are going up, she becomes so chatty and so happy. And she feels so proud. Once she sees our teacher complains and she sees that our grades are going down, she goes into a deep depression, and she'll be quiet and sitting somewhere corner. because I loved her so much and I wanted her to be close and knew that she was going through hard times. I will ask and say, Mommy, what is wrong with you? And she'll tell me stories that our father was general in the military, so we had a good life. But still, she wasn't satisfied. She said, I feel uncomfortable asking allowance to my husband. And if I had skills, I would have gone to work. But at those days, there were no opportunity for Somali women, or men were the breadwinners and the wives stayed home. But she, even though she had a life to live on, she still wanted her daughters to get education. She felt so insecure that she wanted to make sure that her daughters, it didn't matter how rich or poor her husbands was, she felt insecure of being uneducated and not being able to earn any living. So what needs to happen then is that I took that to the core, that working hard and get an education, and then said, okay, she sacrificed so much in giving us so much, worrying about our ups and downs, that women in that age, they age fast. But what happened was I went through everything she wanted to do. Education is important. We came here and got educated. So I reached out in a point where I said, every day of my life, my mom is in front of me. I see so much of women like my mother here in the US, somewhere in Africa, Asia, because illiteracy of young girls are still awful. Even right here in our state, education gap is one of the highest in the United States here in our state. With my public health background, everything is about data. When I'm looking at the education achievement gap of young Black girls and immigrants, I can just picture my mom's depression and sad and anxiety of sitting somewhere corner. So what is our responsibility? What can I do? I've started an organization that said, okay, we'll empower Somali women to make sure that they get the education they need themselves, but also so the second generation can be empowered and get education, become a group that contributes to society, but their families. But empowerment is different. How do you empower women? Do you give her housing? Do you give her a check every month? Or really, do you want to switch that light that is inside her that is waiting to be fired up? And how do you do that? It's actually listening, being available. Being available, listening, being a friend. The best people I remember when I immigrated to the United States in 1999, I came March. It was snowy, I had flip-flops because I came from a warm place. The best people I remember, which a lot of people have helped me, was those who taught me how to take the bus and introduced me to Minneapolis Technical College so I can go to school and learn English and get a job. Those are the people who I remember most and contribute with my success. So why are we here? Education, we know, we talk about it. Our state has worse education. There is that health inequality, health piece that I work through the legislation while talking to our community, empowering our Somali women is, we are here, this is our home. We came from Somali refugee camps, all that hardship may not be behind because that PTSD is there, it's never gonna go away, but we're here to stay. We need to have a role here in our society, so what do? We educate women, not only going to school, but that listening. I understand you, but I challenge them and say, tell me what it is that you think are obstacles, and then think through their own solutions. Because in our society, what we do is we have two party lines. One party line, they're accused of saying they have no compassion to the poor. And another party, they're so compassionate that they want to spoon-feed people. That is how the idea is. But what we would like is empowering people to be self-sufficient. And our organization does that by engaging our members, building a bridge. We do community-based participatory research to bring ideas into a research, document that, and develop programs. Finally, what I would ask you, all of you, I see majority of you are from one race, and I think race is so critical. I know we kind of wanted to stay away from it, but it is a reality. It becomes a strength when we're not blaming each other. So what can you do? What can you do, and what is the message today? It's actually asking yourself, what am I doing? What am I doing to change myself, how I view Minnesota, how I view the world? Am I the friend who buys the shoes, who puts me in a bus? Or am I the friend who gives me what that I need that day? Am I the friend who will just help me think through and help me make choices that will help me empower? Change is going to be hard. Every one of you here are here for a reason and compassionate and wonderful people. I ask you to look at our state, the demographic changes, the inequality that exists for women and young girls of African Americans, immigrants, and American Indians. I promise you, it will not be easy. But I, Fortune, and the group we lead, we sometimes wanted to be understanding our own, because change, you're gonna step people you like's toes, you're gonna burn bridges, but most of the people, it's lack of understanding. Why am I screaming when everything else is ready for us? In conclusion, our work is not done. I all invite you to get to know us. Start tutoring, helping your school to be more culturally specific, to be more, instead of, yes, we have to serve immigrants, we have to serve minorities, just define what does being inclusive mean. Usually it's not having a specific area where you support, but it's how do I make inclusive environments? How do I increase students of color, students of immigrants into the school, which means you're getting involved about policies that help and decrease the education gap. I want to thank you so much. I get emotional and I go to politics and everywhere, but I'm so honored, and thank you so much.
Empowered, inclusive, you rock. Good phrases, amazing. Now it's my pleasure to introduce Dr. Suzanne Dolence. She is faculty at Century, director of the Gender Studies program, and the Women of Distinction Committee chair. Suzanne?
My name is Susanna Dolence, and I teach sociology and gender studies at Century. This is also my first year. Actually, it's like the third month of me being the director of the gender studies program. So I'm still, figuring things out, but it's an honor for me to be here, as I am most years, but also to be able to say a few words. I always find this event so thought-provoking and inspiring, and so I hope you have as well. I want to congratulate this year's Women of Distinction. It's been a pleasure to hear you guys' stories. I also had talked to the Women of Distinction this year earlier before we started, and they seem excited, and I'm excited about bringing them back to campus, and so hopefully we'll continue dialogue and connections. So, I also want to take a minute to acknowledge some women of distinction from past years who are here tonight. If you wouldn't mind briefly just standing as you're able to be recognized. Victoria Reinhardt. Thank you. And Marion Bemis Johnson. So yeah, thank you for being here. And in our 10th year, it's really great to have some past women of distinction join the newest crew. I also want to thank President Anderson for being here tonight and for his and the college's commitment to the Women of Distinction Awards, specifically in gender studies at Century more broadly. I look forward to the next 10 years of honoring women in our community who work on behalf of women and girls. I'm proud to report that our Gender Studies certificate continues to offer students a variety of courses, including interdisciplinary courses within gender studies, and also classes affiliated with the Gender Studies certificate from 7 different disciplines, from anthropology to history to English to sociology. In the spring, in addition to offering our Foundation of Women and Gender Studies course and Intro to GLBTQ Studies course, we'll offer a new class called Gender and Public Power, which we're excited to launch and see how that goes. We have some students in the audience. I know there are some over here, maybe perhaps there are others. If you're a student who's interested in pursuing this certificate, please do contact me to talk more. If anyone in the audience knows a student who may be interested, please encourage them to contact me to talk more. As program director, I see it as my job to work to build, sustain, and promote gender studies program and our certificate at Century as a program that focuses not just on gender, but on the many ways gender intersects with race, ethnicity, culture, age, sexual orientation, religion, disability status, and the list goes on. We're a big tent where everyone is welcome, and in fact, we know that the more diverse our faculty and students are, the more we all learn. Finally, I want to recognize the Century College students who are in attendance tonight. Do you mind standing? There's a few of you. Yay. I'm happy to see our students taking this opportunity to meet and learn from this year's Women of Distinction. The Gender Studies program is a sponsor of this annual event because we think it's important to highlight and celebrate the talents and accomplishments, I'm a little nervous, of women in our community who are working on behalf of women and girls in Minnesota. I also think it's important to recognize the power we have as individuals to change the society in which we live in ways big and small, particularly with an aim toward empowering those who are still in the process of finding their voice. And I think we've seen that demonstrated with our Women of Distinction tonight. I hope that, like me, you'll leave here tonight feeling hopeful, grateful for the work of these Women of Distinction, maybe even inspired to think about what you can do to support this work, or to find a way to do your own work on behalf of women and girls in our community. Thank you.
Shelley, are you going to echo her remarks and support them, I'm sure? Let me introduce one of the past students. She graduated in 2007, Shelley Love.
This is not my first time at this event, but every time I see the women get their awards, I hear their stories. It's amazing. So you three ladies are inspiring. Wow. I just wanted to speak with you for a couple minutes tonight. I promise I'll keep this brief and just talk about what it meant to me personally to have the Gender Studies program at Century. So I want to take you back 30 years, and I'm 12 years old, and I want to play football with my brother and all the neighborhood boys. And I've been playing football with them for years. And they all looked at me and they said, "Sorry, you can't play anymore because you're a girl." And I was like, but wait a second. I can throw the ball as well as you can, and I can catch, and I can tackle, and I don't cry when you make me bloody. I want to play. But they said no. So I ran home, and I told on my brother because I wanted to get him in trouble. And my dad looked at me, and he said, "Honey, the problem isn't that your brother won't let you play football." He said, "The problem is that you don't understand what it means to be a woman." I just stood there and stared at him, and he said, "Rochelle," because he never called me Shelley, "being a woman means when you go through life, you're going to work 3 times as hard as any man. So you can do that job twice as well and earn half the respect and half the pay." I said, "Dad, that's not fair." And he said, "Honey, life isn't fair." And I was convinced that he was wrong. And I went through life trying so hard to find situations that would contradict what he had told me. And unfortunately, my father passed away 2 years later, so I never had the opportunity to say, "You know what, Dad, you were right." And more importantly, I never had the chance to ask him, why? Why is the world this way? So then we go forward in time, and I'm an adult learner at Century, and I'm going through the course programs, thinking, okay, what classes am I going to take? When I see Foundations in Women's Studies, and I thought, this is it. I have to take this class. And the course was rigorous. I didn't think it was going to be quite so hard, Julie Daniels. But it was. And because the women's studies and gender studies was interdisciplinary, I got to look at this question from the art historians. I got to look at it with the anthropologists. I got to look at it with the literary community. So I got all these different perspectives and all these different possible answers. And ultimately, I came to realize that I am who I am because of what society has decided I should be and what I decide that I want to do with that information. So for me, that was very empowering and very transformative. So thank you very much, Century. Thank you.
Wow. What an inspiring evening, and hopefully empowering, and you will spread the message of course, Century College. Shameless plug. Also the gender studies, second shameless plug. I'd do the muskie tank, but that'd really be bad. But if you have questions later. I want to thank you for being here with us. Steve Ritt for his hospitality, Channel 19 for filming us. And I'll conclude with a toast. So I don't have wine. You may have wine or water, but you know the toast. May you resolve to be tender with the young, compassionate with the aged, sympathetic with the striving, and tolerant with the weak or wrong, because sometime in your life you will have been all of those. Shalom Aleichem. Good evening.